Howdy, folks. I'm Peppy Pumpkin, perkily pumping a pouty pumpernickel.
I'm Amber.
And here's more pouty pumpernickel for us to pump up with a tire pump. Now the pumpernickel is running loose across the streets. Whatever will we do? Other than read some Reddit. Let's get started. And folks, we have a live stream coming up on Friday. For more information, please see the end of the video. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Realizing That I Don't Need My Husband? So this year, my husband and I decided to each have 1 week vacation with friends without family. I went to my vacation first, and it went really well, and I had a great time. Then I returned home, and it was my husband's turn to leave for vacation, and that's when things started. We have 3 kids together, a 14-year-old female, an 11-year-old male, and a 1-year-old female. On the first day that my husband left, my oldest got into an accident on her way home from class. Both of her feet were broken, along with a few other bones in her body. Then my son got sick, to the point where he had to be hospitalized. He wasn't in any serious danger, but he still had to be hospitalized and he needed care. Then my youngest babysitter got sick and informed me that she would be taking the week off. I tried to find a new babysitter, but I wasn't able to find anybody. At one point, I started to cry because of how overwhelmed I was, and I called my husband and asked him to forget about the vacation and just to come home because I needed him. He got mad and called me unreasonable because I got to enjoy my vacation, but I won't let him enjoy his for a few days. He snapped at me to handle it myself because he is burnt out and will not return home even 1 minute sooner than he is supposed to, and hung up the phone. So that's what I did. I did everything myself, and I managed it. I was miserable and tired the entire time, but I managed it. In that week, I realized that I don't really need my husband. I mean, his absence was hardly noticed, and as time passed, I just started to feel cold towards him. The children were very fine as well, and they never even asked about their dad or missed him. When he finally returned home, he found all of his stuff packed in a suitcase at the door. He asked what this was, and I told him that this week has made me realize that I don't even need him. I am officially ready to become a single mom. He called me a maniac and asked if I was serious. I said absolutely. He said that the kids would probably have something to say about this, and I said let's see, and announced to the kids that their dad was home. And their answer was, okay, and oh, good for him. Neither was enthusiastic. I told my husband that he needs to leave and that I will send him the divorce papers later. He called me a jerk, but left, and now I'm getting texts from his family telling me that I'm making a huge mistake. Alright folks, what do you think of this one?
Not the jerk. I mean, I understand he wanted his vacation time, but sometimes, you have to put things above it. And presumably he would have been compensated with vacation time later on. So, if one of your kids breaks a bunch of bones, the other one is sick and hospitalized. I can't imagine being a parent, knowing your child is in the hospital and not wanting to be there with them, knowing another child is severely injured, had to spend time in the hospital, and then, the last child, there's no one to look after them while the other two are in serious distress. Yeah, he showed that he doesn't really, it sounds like he hasn't had a role in the family for a very long time, and this was just kind of the icing on the cake.
Yeah, I would really like to know more information about what he does around the house, right? And whether he contributes equally, and maybe OP's realized that this is just not a good relationship for them. This reminds me a bit of the one story where, but kind of opposite, where the father went and took his daughter out to camp, and then he got a call from the wife and said that the kids were sick and he needed to come back home, but the kids weren't really all that sick or anything like that. So this is kind of has the same kind of vibe to me, where, in that particular case, he was all too ready to come home and abandon his daughter from this father-daughter bonding time. And I think where this one kind of varies is that in the other story, the kids were sick, but they weren't broken feet,
right,
type of situation. I would say if in the other case where he came home, this situation would have been a good reason for him to come home, right?
Because the daughter's probably going to have a hard time getting around with 2 broken feet and other broken bones.
Yeah.
And the son, again, was like hospitalized, but a 1-year-old running around the place, like, that's a lot for one person to handle.
It is, it is. I think that certainly I understand and empathize with him for wanting to get a break. And I think that it's really important for you to get a break away from, all the stress of things, because we're only human. We need breaks from things, right? But I agree with you. I think that they should have had a discussion about what the expectation for his time off would have been at a certain point, and for him to potentially be able to get another vacation in the near future,
Right. I
right?
think it only would have been fair for him to have vacation time soon. Like he definitely needed deserved to have a vacation too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but it also sounds like he probably hasn't been doing a lot if they barely noticed he was gone that week.
Yeah. So it does make me wonder how much he does around the house. I'm guessing maybe not as much as he thinks he does.
Mm-hmm.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Turbulent Ebb 5669 says, "Not the jerk, it was the cold water that your life needed. 2 children needing medical care and no babysitter. But you're interrupting his vacation?" And Furren Official says, "Not the jerk, your husband's action during a family crisis speaks volumes about his priorities and commitment to you and your children. Of course you would question the need for him in your life after he chooses a vacation over supporting you during such a difficult time." And Mundane Oddity says, "Not the jerk. His own children had multiple broken bones and he didn't even flinch. The other child needed to be hospitalized and it's still not enough for him to come home. I'm already divorced, but if my child was in either situation, my ex-husband better come home from wherever he is, or he's not seeing his child ever again. When I started reading, I thought, oh honey, that's not your husband. That better be your future ex-husband. You took care of that already. Good for you." All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, "My husband planned a surprise birthday party at a strip club, and I'm really not okay with it. Hi everyone, I'm using a throwaway because my husband knows my real account. I'm feeling really upset and I need some perspective on what is happening this week. I'm a 27-year-old female and my husband is a 25-year-old male, and we've been married for 2 years. I'm currently 4 months pregnant with our first child. My birthday was on Friday last week, so we went for a nice dinner and I thought that was it. But it turns out he had planned some extra surprise party this weekend with a bunch of mainly his friends. I was excited at first because he's usually not this enthusiastic about planning events, and I haven't been to a party in a little while. When we got there, though, it turned out to be a strip club. I honestly thought that it was a joke at first. I've mentioned in the past that strip clubs make me uncomfortable, and while I understand that this was supposed to be a fun surprise, it felt completely disrespectful seeing as I've never expressed any desire to go to one, and I'm also freaking pregnant. And he enjoyed cheering on the dancers, which obviously made me jealous. I tried to make the best of it by imagining that it was just a regular club, but it was just hard. I think that my husband could tell that I wasn't very happy throughout the night, but he was just not taking me seriously. He kept trying to lighten the mood by shooting me in the face with a water pistol that he had brought along. He thought that it was hilarious, but I found it really annoying, to be honest, and a bit childish. We've had issues in the past where he overdoes it with pranks or childish and loud behavior. I told him to stop, but he just laughed it off and said that we were supposed to be having fun. I felt like he was more interested in his own idea of fun rather than considering what I would actually enjoy, especially since it was mostly his friends there. I don't have many friends in our city, but I'm close to my family, and they were not invited. I'm sort of glad that they weren't invited, so they wouldn't feel disrespected as I did. I was so uncomfortable and embarrassed that I ended up leaving early. I had to get an Uber because he wanted to stay. I spent a few days at my mom's house. Husband texted me saying sorry once and then started messaging me like nothing happened, just sending stupid memes and asking how my day was, asking when I was getting back because he missed me. I got home yesterday and tried to have a serious talk about what had happened, but I think that I'm making things worse. Now he's mad and won't talk to me because I'm ungrateful and didn't enjoy this gift that he put effort into. I'm really struggling with how to approach this situation. I don't want to make him feel bad about his intentions, but I also need him to understand why this was hurtful. How do I talk to him about this without causing more drama? I'm low-key considering just sweeping it under the rug because if I leave him, I'll be a single mom, and I really don't want to do that. Thanks in advance for advice. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I know you say you don't want to be a single mom, but I would seriously look long and hard about what he actually contributes to this relationship. Does he actually do anything that benefits you, or is it always me, me, me? I mean, I can't imagine someone who would take their 4 months pregnant wife, who they know does not like strip clubs, to a strip club with their friends. Like, this was a party for him, not for you.
Yeah, I think my biggest problem here is that this was clearly not a party for OP. And I know OP's like, well, he had good intentions. No, he didn't. He's using guilt to make you feel bad about this. And this was his whole idea from the very beginning, that he knew you weren't going to appreciate this. And he's had this in his pocket this whole time, that he can use emotional manipulation to tell you that you're the bad guy for telling him that his gift was terrible. His gift was objectively terrible.
Right. Well, this is his little, like, because I don't know how OP feels about him going to strip club solo, but if she's not a fan of it, like, well, bring her with me and she can't complain. Like, all the boxes are ticked. He gets to do what he wants to do, and OP can't say anything because it's a surprise party for her.
And then squirting her in the face with a squirt gun?
Like, who does that?
For her party. Yeah, I mean, I know that when I want to have fun, the first thing I think of doing is shooting myself in the face with a squirt gun. That's how I have fun.
Right, like, that is just not okay. He doesn't respect OP at all. It seems like he seems very self-centered, and I don't think he cares about OP one bit beyond what she can do for him.
This is antagonistic, right? Like, if you squirt someone, and I agree with you, but I think, like, squirting someone in the face, just to bring this back for a second, is antagonistic. It's like punishing a cat. OP wasn't having fun at the strip joint, understandably, and he was squirting her in the face to punish her for that, right? Antagonizing her. He was going out of his way to ensure that she had a miserable time. And with this whole act of, like, oh, when you getting back, I miss you type of thing, right? Like, it all just feels very manipulative in order to put, he normalized it in such a fast way, right? Like, oh, this is perfectly normal. And I agree with you where he did this purposely, brought OP along so that he could tick off this box, or maybe even in the future be like, oh, we're going to have another party here. We're going to go to the strip club again. You want to join us? And then she's like, oh, no, I just am not into that type of thing, where he can just say, oh, but you can come along.
Yeah, well, and he's also normalized the whole squirting her in the face thing. Like, if we were somewhere in public or anywhere and you were to take a squirt gun and squirt me in the face, like, I would be furious.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be just like, oh, yeah, he just does this joking thing where he squirts me in the face sometime. Like,
Imagine if you were at a restaurant and someone brings out a squirt gun and shoots their partner in the face with it.
I'd be horrified.
I'd be like, what in the world is going on here?
Yeah, and like, unless the other partner then whips out a water pistol and gets them right back, I'm gonna be like,
this is a strange dynamic. I'm very uncomfortable right now.
Yeah. So I would maybe talk to an individual therapist about your husband and work through this, because I am concerned that we are only, again, seeing the tip of the iceberg here, and that there is some serious manipulation going on in this relationship.
Yeah, I agree. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Short Personality 705 says, you don't want to make him feel bad about his intentions. He took his pregnant girlfriend to a strip club and shot you with a water pistol. He did put effort into a nice gift for himself. He sounds like a giant child. And Scarf Around My Eggplant says, wife, married for 2 years. Truly unbelievable. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Complaining About the Food That My Ex Makes? For some context, I am a 40-year-old and my ex-wife, a 35-year-old, got divorced 5 years ago. While we were together, we had twin girls. We maintained a healthy co-parenting relationship, and she doesn't prefer to communicate outside of that. When my wife and I were together, she enjoyed making things from scratch, mostly food, but clothes as well. She would always tell me that she wanted to live on a farm. I always thought that it was all a waste of money, but I let it be. Now that we're divorced, she moved to the farm that she always wanted to and grows various kinds of fruits and vegetables. She has also continued to make even more food from scratch, but now also feeds this food to our daughters. Apparently, it just makes up most of their diet. The problem comes in when it is mealtime, when I have custody of our daughters. The girls refuse to eat anything that I make. I usually use store-bought pasta, bread, jam, cheese, yogurt, etc. All things that their mother makes from scratch. They often complain about the taste and say that they can taste the difference, and I try to lie to them. I talked to my ex about this a few times, and her solution was to send over a few things to give to them. But I really don't see a point in not just giving them regular food. It seems like they are developing a snobbish attitude from this. I communicated this to my ex, but she keeps saying it's healthier and that she is going to keep arguing with me on this. She also offered to teach me to make a few things, but I told her that I wasn't going to waste my time or money making anything from scratch. I asked her to stop feeding girls that food, and she told me to grow up. So now I think that I might be the jerk because she doesn't usually get mad this easily. All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a jerky request. Like, I understand it can be hard to make things from scratch and whatnot, but it's not fair to be like, yeah, you can't make our kids nutritious food because it's too much effort for me to make things. Now, there could be compromises. There might be, products that are commercially produced that are closer to what they eat at home. So you could try different brands and whatnot. Maybe ask her. I'm sure not everything they make is all like handmade. So she might be able to give you some meal prep ideas. Or even if it's that much of an issue, maybe send some extra food or something. But you shouldn't demand that your kids have lower quality food because it's an inconvenience to you.
I think this is a complicated situation, and I certainly think that I'm going to get out of the way that OP is wrong for making the request for her to stop feeding the children healthy food when they're at her house. OP, that's just not reasonable. Like, if I understand that your frustration with the children not liking the food that you're making, but this isn't a reasonable request. I understand OP is frustrated because the girls are complaining about the food that they serve, right? And that's hard because, not everyone has time to make things from scratch, right? Now, if OP is not making things, not making a dinner because they don't have because they don't want to put the effort into it, I would maybe say that's not such a good reason or motivation. Maybe you should learn how to cook some homemade meals. They're usually healthier. They're usually going to be better for you in the long run. But there again, like, not everyone has the ability to cook well, and maybe it would still end up with one of these situations where the girls are like, you don't cook as well as mom, right? As for like the things that OP is feeding them, I don't think that OP sounds like they're feeding them anything terrible. It just sounds like a lot of the box foods and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
which in general people eat. And maybe OP should, investigate if, like you said, some other brands or something like that that maybe won't have the same kind of chemically tastes and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I think that OP is wrong for his request, but I understand his frustration. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she supposedly has another jovial Bob sign joke, but I really wouldn't classify it that way.
You know it's going to be a rotten vacation when you have to share the backseat of your car with your nervous German Shepherd who insists on sitting on your lap the whole way.
I mean, I think that's just kind of like an observation, right? If you have a German Shepherd and it wants to sit on your lap for the whole trip, yeah, I think that might be a little bit of an indicator that it's going to be a long vacation. Maybe you should have, took them to a dog hotel or something like that. I have Mega Mint. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Manic Monday, folks. I hope your Monday is off to a great start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on going it alone.
When your partner is not supportive and uncaring, then sometimes it's better to go it alone.
Indeed, indeed. And folks, we have a live stream coming up on Friday. We hope to see you then. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.